Maricel has been in Hong Kong for 5 years working as a migrant domestic worker. So you guys have shared about the situation of domestic workers in different regions. You started with the most difficult region, Middle East, and then Asia. Yeah, and actually Middle East and Asia is the region where 80% in Asia, 80% of the countries don't provide holidays and day off for domestic workers. In Hong Kong, we are luckier because the labor law include domestic workers as workers, but the majority of the Asian countries and Middle East exclude domestic workers as workers. So that's why it gives us so much difficulty and exploitation that we face. So meanwhile, Maricel, are you ready?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
I think you saw it.
And over to you.
You see my presentation. Great, that's great. So okay, we'll try to start in a basic level of what is domestic worker. So we should remind ourselves that for me, we should remind that what is really the domestic work, or what is the domestic worker. So in a basic way, I should say it's a person who works within the scope to reside or to perform a variety of household services for individuals, and also providing cleaning and household maintenance, or cooking, laundry, ironing, and of course for children and elderly dependents, and which is who can take care of them. Now, this is the very good part, that the domestic workers it's work on full-time or part-time basis as well, maybe employed by a single household or by multiple employers, maybe residing in the household of the employer, which is live-in worker, or maybe living in her own residence, which is in Hong Kong. We obliged to live in, so we are not allowed to living out, but there is the labor said that if the employer send like ask the immigration that the residence is not enough for their workers, so they might gonna give permission to that. But usually here is not allowed living out. So domestic worker is which country is not a national referred to as migrant domestic worker. So to those workers who work outside the country or their own premises country, so they call it migrant domestic worker. So domestic workers are also is a comprise significant part of the global work, which informal employment, and which are among the most vulnerable groups. First, it's often face very low wages. That's number one. Excessively long hours, so have no guaranteed weekly day of rest, and sometimes it's vulnerable physically, mental, and sexually abuse, or restrictions on freedom of movement. Exploitation of domestic workers can partly be attributed to gaps in national labor and employment legislation, and often reflects discrimination as well, along the lines of sex, race, and caste. So this is I would like to show you the graphics, which are the distribution of migrant workers around the world. So as you can see, the graphics. So the that is the ILO statistical studies, which provided estimate on labor migration, which half of the global, which is 40% of migrant workers are concentrated in two broad regions, which is Northern America, Northern, Southern, and Western Europe. So in Arab countries, states have the highest proportion of migrants workers, a share of all workers with 35.6%, and the vast majority of migrant workers and in the service sectors with 106.8 million workers accounting for 71.1% of total. So it's followed by the industry including manufacturing and construction with 26.7 million, 17.8%, and agriculture with 16.7 million or 11.1%. Among all migrants workers, 7.7% are domestic workers. So this is labor force participation rates. I'm sorry, I didn't put. This is from the ILO. Yes, from the ILO graphics. And yes, it's highlighted the significant global numbers of migrants, which I'll show you. So, domestic is one of the least regulated sector of the economy, which such is a particular concern to the ILO. So its concentration of migrant women workers and relatively low visible of the workforce in this sector. Multiple forms of discrimination often intersect. So the estimated is 67 million domestic workers in the world. 11 million or 17.2% are international migrants. So about 73.4% or around 8.5 million of all migrants domestic workers are women. So in the Southeastern Asia, the Pacific hosts the largest share with 24.0% of the global number of female migrant domestic workers. It followed by the Northern and Southern and Western Europe with 22.1% rather, of the total. So, and the Arab states with 19.0. So, with the aging of societies and other demographic and socio-economic change, migrant domestic workers are likely to continue moving international in great numbers to fill in care households service needs. So that's how big the numbers of the domestic workers around the world. So I would like to continue. In Hong Kong, as of September 2020, there is approximately 370,000 foreign domestic workers working in Hong Kong. And the majority of foreign domestic workers come from the Philippines, which is 204,000, and Indonesia is 155,000. So this is the graphics of growing numbers from 2008 to 2017, and there is estimation of 2047 until 2047, which this is from the immigration department, which they need more domestic workers. So yeah, the number of domestic workers here in Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong. This is the economic contribution as well. So why I put economic contribution? I would like to remind us the value of domestic workers in each countries. That what is really the value of domestic and the significance of the domestic workers on that country that they work. So okay, when we that is the salary comparison of domestic helper in different regions of the world. So that was 2017 statistics. So I'll just put the other info. So if you read it, so it's not. Sorry, it's not really. So this is the value of paid domestic worker for the economic contribution of migrant domestic workers to Hong Kong. Anyway, domestic workers in Hong Kong is they said that it's really big help to grow their economy. So as you can see, the more the domestic workers in Hong Kong, the more their economy grow and grow up. So this is also how the contribution of domestic workers to their society. So now this is the PLU. So okay, this is the PLU. Sorry, I put all the stuff. This is what we did. This is what we do. So as you can see, there is movement, social exchange. Okay. Anyway, PLU is a progressive labor union of domestic workers in Hong Kong. Yes, and it's duly registered in Register of Trade Union (RTU) with registration TU1247 on April. I'm sorry that because it's all real. It's April 27, 2012. The union holds its annual general meeting of members every March. So we have objectives as well. First is to defend the rights and welfare of migrants workers on wages, hours of work, employment contracts, migration of the union and employers, anti-migrants policies to exploitative and abusive employees and employment agencies. Second, to promote the security of members, which is the financial assistance. We're a first degree family of members, and legal advice assistance, and also the shelter for the active members. And then third is to promote understanding of the union and its employers and members, and also to our fellow members. Now the fourth is to empower members and other migrants workers on their rights and welfare, and empower women workers as trade unionist and woman leader, a mother or sister or wife or daughter. So six, to assist on their economic situation through saving and reintegration program. So we have a legal cooperative, which is AMCO, Asian fish, Asian migrants, AMCO, Asian Migrants Cooperative Union. Am I right? Please correct me, Fish, if I'm wrong. So, yeah. Next. So this is our mission and vision and goal: to educate, organize, unionize, and also mobilize to fight